All right, so this is page 37. The last note should have been page 36. That's my bad. But on page 37, there's really no notes for this. It's just examples that you need to watch me do. So all of you that like to watch the first 2 minutes and then click off, you're not slick. You need to watch this, okay? So multiplying tricky binomials. This is what I mean by a tricky binomial. We're just going to do straight examples. So if I give you 2x minus 1 all squared, this is a tricky, that's what I used to call it in class if we were in person, a tricky binomial, okay? It's tricky because you can't just carry this 2 in here, and that's what y'all love to do because we just did exponents, right? Well, when we did exponents and we carried exponents in, there weren't any minus or plus signs, okay? So when we did exponents, you guys were used to seeing stuff like this where you could just carry the 2 in, and that's because there were no signs. Everything was squished together, okay? But if you look at what I gave you here, this says 2x minus 1. You cannot just carry this 2 into both of those, all right? Because the 2x and the 1 are joined together by something else. So it's like being married. Me and my husband are joined together by these rings and by the vows we made, right? That means you can't just bring some homewrecker into our marriage. That is homewrecking, okay? You can't do that. So how you deal with binomials like this is you literally square them. What does it mean to square something? Like if I told you 3 squared, it's not 6. It literally means 3 times itself, right? 3 times 3, 2 times. So watch this. I'm doing 2x minus 1 all squared. Well, that means I have 2x minus 1 times 2x minus 1, okay? From here, you guys know from yesterday's video how to multiply these 2 binomials, right? So for this first one, I'm gonna do box method. I saw a lot of you using box method yesterday, which is awesome. So I'm doing 2x minus 1 times 2x minus 1, right? All right, so first box, 2x times 2x should be 4x squared now. 2x times negative 1 should be negative 2, and there was an x. 2x times negative 1 is again negative 2x. And then negative 1 times negative 1 gives me a positive 1, okay? So now from here, you guys know from yesterday, all we have to do is write this in standard form and make sure it's simplified. So standard form, the x squared would come first because it's biggest. Well, then and another negative 2x. You don't write them both. That means they can go together. They have the same signs, which means we add. So 2 plus 2, that'll be negative 4. And they both had an x, so it's x. And then we bring down the term with no x's, plus 1. That is how you would multiply tricky binomials. You do not do this. It is not 2x squared minus 1 squared. That is wrong, okay? They are married. They're joined together by something else, like a ring. You don't get to be a homewrecker. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. I'm working on my grammar. Sound good? All right, let's do one more just to make sure you've got the hang of it. And then that'll be it for today's video. So example 2, let's do 5x plus 8 all squared. They are joined together by something else, so you don't just homewreck. They are married, okay? Which means, how do we do this? We're going to write 5x plus 8 times itself 2 times. So 5x plus 8 times 5x plus 8. That's what it means to square it, right? All right, and for this one, I'm going to use the second method from yesterday, FOIL, just for those of you that were using that like that better. So the first terms multiplied, 5 times 5 is 25 x's, so x squared. First, so now I'm on outer, FO. First is done, outer, so 5 times 8 is 40, and there was an x. Okay. FOI, so FOIL I comes next, which means I do the inner. So 8 times 5 is also 40, and this 5 also had an x, so I'm going to bring that down. And then last would be 8 times 8, which is 64. So now when I write this one in standard form and simplify where I can combine those. 40 plus 40 gives me 80x. That's 25x squared. This 80x was positive, so I'm going to bring that down, and then plus 64. All right, so I'm going to know who watched this video, because those of you that did not, you're going to do it wrong, and that's tough. You're going to have to fix it, okay? Tricky binomials, make sure you write them twice, and then you either use your box or you FOIL. Sound good? All right, hop on Zoom if you need me.